Hallelujah. Giving, hallelujah. The highest praise. Hallelujah. Giving the highest praise. Hallelujah. Giving the highest praise. In the morning when I wake up, in the night when I wake up, I will lift up my voice to heaven and give you the highest praise. Hallelujah to my King. Hallelujah to my Father. Hallelujah to my Jesus. Above before the throne. When I look at all the wonder and I see all the creation, the beauty of the universe, you never, never change. You never, never lie. You never, never change. You never, never care. Hallelujah to my Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Hey, hey. Hallelujah. Giving. Hallelujah. The highest praise. Hallelujah. Giving the highest praise. Hallelujah. Giving the highest praise. Hey, I'm not praying with Jehovah. I'm not worship Jehovah. It deserves the praise. I'm not praising. It deserves everything. Oh, the worshiping. Oh, he gave me life. I will praise his name. I'm here to praise my God because he gave me life. Come celebrate, come jubilate, come to worship him. He deserves the praise.
All right, good evening. That's a beautiful music there, gospel music from our own Liberian artist, K-Praise. We will celebrate the Lord. So welcome to this event, the forum right here on LPR.
Giving, hallelujah, highest praise, hallelujah, giving the highest praise, hallelujah, giving the highest praise, ooh, hallelujah, oh, yeah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah to my Jesus.
right, we just want to say thank you. We want to welcome you to this evening to broadcast. It's 8:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio. As usual, today is Tuesday. It is your informative news magazine, The Forum. The Forum comes away every Tuesday right here at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we look at a wide range of issues right here on this network. That was a beautiful song that we always try to display and showcase the qualities and beauty, the culture of Liberia. And that one from Maryland County, I was hoping that Alexander Benedict Cummings was part of that dance. I'm not sure whether it's in Plebo or to wherever it is, but what we do know is from our Marylanders friends, we want to say thank you for making an impact, for adding to this program this evening. What, as usual, we're going to get a conversation going, but I will try to take a different format, a different step here this evening. If you see it there, it's like an open mic, but I'm also calling on us, all of us, all Liberians. Let's talk Liberia and its political implications. What will you do if you were elected president of the Republic of Liberia today? I know it's a hypothetical one. And what would be your set priority, your structure, and type of government you want? Let's say if you were elected president today, what will you precisely do? So this is something we must talk about so that we all will know what we do, what will be our responsibility. So let's get us going to right away here. Time Francis and Salt of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. Just bear with me here a little bit. We're going to get this. We're going to get this conversation going right here from the New England Bureau. Thank you so much for sharing your Tuesday evening with me. But today, as you may know, the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency George Manawiya, arrives in the neighboring Republic of Sierra Leone to honor the country independence as well. But let's see some of the news making headlines around our country as we try to keep the news proportional in the context that all of us will be able to have. I have come to realize, and this is what I monitor, I try to listen to other country networks and see the sort of politics that is being played, how things work, and how it is. Well, to our neighbors, I'll say neighbors because they are our West African brother, the Federal Republic of Nigeria is in a crisis with this Islamic fundamentalists and the jihadis. Attacks is all over the place. The talking point, the conversations is over the roof in Nigeria. One of my favorite network that I watch because of the kind of conversations, the maturity that is involved, is the Channels Television's network of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, where politicians and stakeholders always assemble to discuss issues and events in the civil society. Nigeria is a very huge country with 36 states. Kaduna and River States and many other places. It's now being seen the scene of actions of the Boko Harams and other fundamentalist group. As we try to talk about our country, we must keep our eyes open to our neighbors as well, because when our country was in flame, those people came, and it is because of their intervention. Some of us, and many of you today, you are alive, despite whatever they were engaged in to what they did. But I can tell you, war is not a good experience. So they too have their own life to protect. Well, the issue of Boko Haram and other Islamic group, terrorist groups, supposedly, has become a conversation in the political dynasty in Nigeria. Governors, lawmakers, and the journalists are seeking answers and talking to stakeholders as to what is going on and what is happening. I didn't know the bickering alone is not just only on Capitol Hill in Liberia, but it's everywhere. As people try the blame game, both houses of government disagreement, their inability to come together to find solution to crisis is everywhere. Even here in the USA, there are diverse views on Capitol Hill, the Republicans and the Democrats. Well, I'm going to give you courtesy of Channels Television, and I've encouraged most of you to also see what is happening in other countries. That will give you a sense of idea to the problem enormous everywhere. That's not a justification of wrongdoing, and that national government should not perform their task. But it is a clear indication that these things are visible everywhere and the talking point is on. Courtesy of Channel Television, my favorite network and Voice of Sierra Leone and other major network. Let's get this little soundbite and see how it looks like in neighboring country. I am Afonso Zienso. Stay tuned.
Okay, who joins us from Port Harcourt in Riverside. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight on the program. We are at a crossroad, aren't we, in this country? And the situation that we are faced with, Governor Wike, is such that demands that everyone should come together to find a solution. When the Senate, our senators are telling the president to find a foreign or seek foreign help, the House is saying declare a state of emergency. You as Chief Security Officer of your state. From your own standpoint, if you look at all the situation, how do we overcome this major security threat that our nation faces today?
Sure, thank you very much. Sorry, I can't hear you very well. If you may repeat your question so that I don't know whether it is from your side or from our own side, but I can't hear you very well.
Okay, I can hear you loud and clear. So what I asked is, we are at a crossroad as a people in this country, and we are seeking solution. So if the Senate is saying, or senators are asking the president to seek foreign help, and the House of Representatives, they are saying, declare a state of emergency. As a state governor, from your own point of view, what do you suppose is a solution or the way to go at this crossroad in resolving our insecurity challenge at today?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, before you talk about solution, the government in place today should be able to know that whether are we doing what we're supposed to do. If no, then the issue of solution comes in. And if the government in place, which has refused to agree that they're not doing what they're supposed to do, then even if you provide a solution, that will not work. But if the government accepts and I agree that yes, obviously we're fed. We need support, we need ideas in order to improve on these challenges. But if the government does not agree, so what solution will you prefer? However, be it as it may, it is very obvious that we have said this clearly, and that the issue of security is paramount in any governance. And that when the government cannot protect life and property, then that government has failed. Does not do well about it. There's no propaganda that can solve the problem. Now, what we are saying is this, that we must come to terms that what are the problems? The problems are this. We have problem of kidnapping today. We have problem of banditry. We have problem of cultism, as the case may be. Now, the government at the level, the government at the federal level, are they willing to cooperate with the states in order to fight this insecurity? Or always politicizing them? If they are willing to work with the government at various states, now look, this is a problem that affects all of us, irrespective of party. Then the government will get it right. But when the government does not believe that is a serious problem. Today I was shocked when I heard, in fact I won't say shocked, I was very pathetic to the governor of Niger State that he has cried and cried and cried and cried to the federal government. And that until now, nothing has happened. That is a state that's in the ruling party. That's a state that's in the ruling party. And look, he has to speak out that enough is enough. That Boko Haram has taken over the place. And there's no need to hide again. Now, it is for the federal government, like he said, I have cried to you. what do you do to support me to fight this insurgency? And the federal government has given a deaf ear. And so he has no choice but to cry out, right? So if a state government or a state governor who knows what it is in his state comes out to a government, look, this is the problem we have. Can we do this? Can we do that? And the federal government is not listening to him. What solution do you think the man can provide that will work in order to solve these problems? So I think that the federal government, for me, has believed that they are not interested in the life and property of Nigerians. Forget about propaganda. Forget about propaganda. There's no day you wake up, you will hear 20 people have been killed in social state. The next day you wake up, you will hear 30 people have been kidnapped. The next day you wake up, you will hear 10 soldiers have been killed. Every day, every day, every day, every day. And governments will meet them, look at the problems we have. Or they will tell you, look, we're on top of the situation. We'll do what we can do.
Okay, good evening and welcome to all our viewers into Radio Land, Television Land, to whatever you are. We say good evening and welcome, good morning, good afternoon, depending on your location. This is the Liberia Public Radio, and I'm your host and anchor right here to the New England Bureau to Francois Zin. So that was a soundbite from the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The governor of Rivers State there talking. A couple of months ago, students were adopted by the Boko Haram group. Video of the students where it was introduced, it was published today. And there's a conversation on in the parliament, the lower and the upper house, that's the Rep and the Senate, one calling on the government to declare the state of emergency, and the other branch of government is calling on the government to seek international help. You listen to the letter there. It's just a clear indication that too much is unfolding everywhere. And it is a clear sense that we as Liberians and even other neighbors, we must also put our acts together. Remember that Nigeria was heavily involved in the civil crisis by sending sons and daughters, men and women, for the peacekeeping mission. And so the fragile peace process in Liberia, it is within all of us purview, the government, the oppositions, ordinary citizens, radio hosts, commentators, civil society, to maintain peace at all costs. Because I can tell you for sure what is unfolding in other countries, they have their own crisis. So any attempt by any Liberian to create any chaotic situation, it will be at the detriment of all of us as a Liberian. That's our takeaway here. Our prayers and thought goes out to the people of Nigeria, and we hope that they will also find a common ground to find solution. And that's exactly to what the government was saying. But as you know, like Nigeria is a federal government, so they have their own states run by governance, not necessarily with the directive of the president. So they also speak out when it is necessary for their people and even their parliament as well. So it is a little bit different than ours, where the municipal government is being appointed by the executive. Unlike in Nigeria, those people are elected, so they represent the interests of the people. So I want us to do this here this evening. So we're going to also look at the video clip of the arrival of the president of the Republic of Liberia to a neighboring Sierra Leone. But let's create some hypothetical conversation here this evening. If you even want to come via video, yeah, just let me know. Drop your email. I will send you a link. You come in. But I will try as much as possible to open the phone line here this evening for us to talk Liberia. Let's talk Liberia. Let's take a little break. Put aside all the 22 political parties, as far as I'm concerned, that seems not to put up an authentic and genuine plan for the growth, the economic growth, stability of the country. But all is all about blinking. You can do it. I can do it better. Well, that's the characteristics of politicians. They prefer to be the good one, you know. But you, as a Liberian, you own the country, I own the country. It is not their country, it's all of us country. And so we all have a stake to ensure that peace and tranquility and sanity is in Liberia. And of course, good governance. And this is something that I often always hear people saying good governance, good governance. What is good governance? What you make of the government itself. So I'm going to put a number out here that I saw, and I really want you to participate because it is you going to be the deciding factor. We are talking about 2023, but it's just within our proximity. So let's talk Liberia and its political implications. We want to talk Liberia and its political implication. What will you do? You today, should I be a little bit ridiculous here? Mr. Joe, Jeremiah, Edmond, Conan, Fidel, John, if you are elected president of the Republic of Liberia, what will be your set priority, your structural, and the type of government that you want to see that will deliver to Liberia? It's a consequential and rhetorical questions. I'm not sure our politicians have answered that. Most of the time, what I'm hearing from both the government and the oppositions is the blame game. It is a clear indication that these people, there's a what they call power struggle. I can do it the most. I can do it better than you. You just give me the power and I will deliver and I will do it. But bear in mind, these soundbites, these sort of talking points, we have heard them over and over 173 years. The victors tend to become the victim, and the victim becomes the victor. And that's the sort of narrative they've always been pushing there. But they are not telling us the strategic move or the plans that they have as to how Liberia can be delivered, how they can contain the size of government. And so I find it very ironic if I see politicians, and even to the extent some of their supporters, also buy into the sort of red meat and those empty promises that are thrown out there to Liberians, and electorates are not enough sophisticated to pick up or to ask sticky and critical questions. As the result, we make choices, and some of the choices at the end lead all into where we find ourselves in for the most part. So let's do it. Let's see what we can talk about our country in an honest fashion. Put aside disrupt that garments of bent sedition, bent Liberty Party, Unity Party, Collaborative Party, Rainbow Alliance, 22 political parties. And I wouldn't be surprised there will be more to come, because our people have come to realize what they call power. It's awesome. It's good. It's fabulous. It kind of makes you to become who you are, not overnight, because you're going to sit with world leaders, you're going to sit with people, and you're going to be a deciding factors. You're going to talk, you're going to make major decisions. You're going to start confronting the business community, the international community, big entrepreneurial and all of that. So people have come to discover being in government in third world countries, and for discussion purposes, like Liberia, you get to the zenith of your life so quick, so fast. Yeah, because our lobbyists here, we call them lobbyists. They are people who are going to be pressing the button, who are going to be pushing it. Mr. President, Mr. Minister, Mr. Director, I have this group of people. And as they bring in those investors, and more or less, they tend to gain than the country. And this is where the country has been heavily hurt. And we are unable to discuss that. So they do have interest, those who seeking state power, those who are advocating for change, to begin to point out those things and even hold their political leaders or those who seek international state power responsible as to how. And that's the question, the consequential question most of the time politicians try to avoid because it's putting them on the radar. They say it, but they will not tell you the methodologies as to how they're going to get to that point. But they want to tell you, say, we will do it. How are you going to do it? That's the process. That's the mechanisms I want to know. So let's have a conversation here this evening. And I'm going to be putting the number out here very shortly. I want you to call, express your mind, express your free will. So let's see here. Oh, I'm getting a call here, but I'm quite sure this is not is an international call. I'm not sure what they are calling for the program. So let me just get to the arrival of the President of the Republic of Liberia, Dr. George Weah, in Sierra Leone today. Courtesy of ITV to Liberia on this one year.
And then in the GP will be the President of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Manneh Weah, who took off Liberia a few minutes ago, now in Freetown, is going to be the embassy staff that are making their way inside to first greet the president, and of course, following the greeting that is in there with the president, and the president will now make his way downstairs, and then he will officially be met here by the vice president of Sierra Leone, who's already positioned here and waiting the arrival of His Excellency Dr. George Manneh Weah. So stick and stay with us. Stick and stay with us. You have to stay right there with us and getting out of the feed right here from the Lungi International Airport. 60 years. 60 years. It is a very remarkable year as a country. They've gone through their own challenges. They have had their own sort of a situation as well as a country. Now, the president of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Manneh Weah, is making his way downstairs. Let's chat right here. The president of Liberia, right there, and of course, receiving this President Weah will now make his way toward the grandstand here. You can see the president of Liberia right now. And of course, we stay right here onto it, making sure that the airport formalities are properly taken care of. Right here, just making sure that you can get the president of Liberia in that great state. There goes the president and vice president of Sierra Leone.
Okay, let's have a little conversation here. Let me see if I can downsize this, and I'm going to keep it there. Well, these are some of the out of the headache and things that we are having today. We sit over the microphone. These are some of the things that we are having. When you see these sort of things happening, then the politicians, people begin to boil within. And so as a result, they are unable to sit and have this sort of a conversation because they see the luxuries, the privileges, the beauty, the connections of being out there. And so this is why you have 22 political parties in Liberia. They are unable to come to a consensus. And I know people will say, well, there's the beauty, there's the beauty of democracy. Yeah, but democracy should not be abused because we must question these people. What are they really bringing to the table? What is their intent? Or are they coming to get themselves rich overnight at the expense of the taxpayer or government? If that is the case, then it is just unfair. And that's why you see the power struggle, and it is what it is in our country. So I want us to have a conversation. So I'm going to be putting the number out here. Per Joyce, the number is there. Brother Eduardo, welcome. I say hi, Chief, Librarian, do not want warlords and criminals. Let's think about comments and Dr. Kiase as VP. What, Eduardo? I wish you luck. You see, and this is what it is. Let's agree with the general concept of the government that we have, and maybe, I'm saying maybe because that's most people say. Other people you talk to them, they have their own interpretation is not good. So why can't these people sit down and see who potentially will be a winnable or go through a process? And I'm waiting to see, because there is no good history when it comes to collaborations with Liberian political parties. Because under the leaders themselves, there is about they don't think about the country. They don't see the country as a sovereign nation. So their authenticity to the country, their genuineness is lacking, very minimum. Well, you might ask, what is the statistic? Well, of the statistics, we know the behaviors of our politicians. Most of them, they have come from time to time. I'm going to be this one. I'm going to be that. And when they are elected, they pivot. Simply because we didn't have the chance, or we on purpose, we deny, we blind ourselves to the reality, and we did not ask them the question first and foremost before even allowing them or before electing them to state power. So if you didn't ask anybody and you wake up, he's my brother, he's my uncle, we are from the same quarter, or he was just present, and we make this sort of a judgment ahead of time, then we end up making wrong decision. And because of your vote, because of a vote, or 2, 3 other people vote, they endanger the prosperity of the country. That's why it's happening. Why are these political parties, or why are they so fragmented, first and foremost? Why are these people that were in NDPL yesterday, now the president, the founder, or establishers of the NDPL, Samuel Doe, is no longer alive? World time has involved, fair to mention, Helen Johnson Sirleaf, even the CDC, the Charles Walker Bronski, may his soul rest in peace. How long these political parties have been existent? What has been their long-term, what has been their contingency plan to sustain this institution as a political party? All of the folks that were into Unity Party, because Unity Party where they were they was presiding over state resources, they were the decision maker, they were doing everything, they were all there. But what happens at the end of the day when the Unity Party crumble in terms of state power? What happened? We began to see that sort of cross-pollinations of individual influx of politicians moving over to CDC now, which is a ruling establishment. Why? Because these people are unable to stand tough times. They are unable to put a structure in place as an institution. So they didn't get it yesterday. It didn't work out for them yesterday, and nobody wants to go through hustle. They decide to go where the wind is now blowing. And believe me or not, if there was any political change tomorrow comes 2023, and this is only just for discussion purposes, and nobody should run with it to say, oh, the Liberty Party or Collaborative Party are going to win it. That's not my argument. I'm laying out the foundation of the basis of our tonight conversation. These same people today who are within the bellwether of the CDC, who are preaching, who are saying X, Y, Z. Believe me, politicians, they are slippery like a catfish. If you're a fisherman, if you stay up country like myself, you know how catfish is very slippery. They will come tomorrow with that sort of statements of political correctness. We didn't have the chance We couldn't say this is X, Y, Z. We couldn't do this, we couldn't do that. But now, knowing what I know now, those are the kind of careful word that words that I will be using to persuade, to manipulate you, and say, oh, knowing what I know now, and if I knew that, I wouldn't have been on the other side of the history. But this sort of deceptive mind, for some of us, we are seeing it a lot. So it makes us difficult. We don't even know who is genuine, who mean business, who have the country at heart. Because history has not proven anything right to me. I don't know about you, and I do not want to make judgment for you. I'm just speaking for myself and some of those who will align with what I'm saying here. The inability for us to build structure to sustain institution has been the problem. And the members claim to be members or supporters of this institution, their inability to also contribute commitment to the very institutions or ideology the thing they are subscribed to, they are unable to do that. So if I'm head of ANC, everything about ANC, I am the head, I take trouble. The cause and everything about ANC, they look up to that person. So what happens when that individual becomes the leader, or when he takes state power? Obviously, all of his resources and investment to get him to be where he is, you have caused, or we have given that person's extra or dominant power because we did not invest. It's like you promise you committed yourself of Johnny Suzu. Every week or every month you're supposed to pay X contributions, and it's rotational. You didn't pay the first week, you didn't pay the second week, and when other people are ready to get their money, you want to go there to get. You did not make no investment. There was no investment. You did not have no share. So how can you get? You can't get anything, obviously. So until we can all begin to make the sacrifice that is required, first and foremost for the nation and our commitment, how are we joining political parties? I don't know the membership of these institutions. I never saw any of these parties after election to say this is how much, even the candidates, let's put aside the parties, the transparency, good governance, good example, bringing transparency in government. I never saw the politicians in Liberia after their campaign, prior to their campaign, to announce how much was raised, who their donors are, where the money is coming from, even though they are election laws, but are these laws being enforced by the NEC, the National Election Commissions? And if not, what is responsible? So the questions of dishonesty, lack of transparency, lack of good governance, it starts from the onset before they even get to office. You know, here in the Western world, when you are running a campaign here, even before you didn't donate to a campaign, there's a set criteria. You don't just get and give. And this is why the politician here, before you give, the first and foremost, they want to make sure you are a citizen. There's a set criteria. You don't just get and give. And they have to give full disclosure. People raise tons of money to their campaigns. At the end of the day, they use that for personal things instead of the campaigns. Guess what? Why Jesse Jackson Jr. is in jail today? Because he misappropriated campaign funds, buying gold watch. But do we have institutions? Do we have the structure to check these people? Or are we just becoming selective? This is what we should fact check. This is what we should focus on. This should be the center of this is where we should keep our eyes, and we should forget about this. That is unfair. There are three branches of governments, and all of these people have separate responsibilities, and they must all should perform their task. And we as a citizen must also do our share as a good citizen. But But we see people are advocating. Today they are with this party here. So yesterday they hang up with those people. What happened? What not happened? Down the slope, someone tried to play smart against this person. So this person say, you know what? If we incorporate this guy here, we're going to be raising our own crocodile. So let's kick this person off. And when that person is kicked off, they turn to renegade. They turn like a renegade soldier. So the question now becomes, what are some of these critical questions before even going into an institution? Do you really know what you are getting into? Do you ask all of these critical questions? Do you know the beliefs of those political institutions, those individuals that you support? Do you ask those critical questions, what they stand for, what they hope to do, what they hope to achieve? Do you ask these questions, or are we moving by sentiment or some sort of a human attraction? Yes, I think with that sort of a second species or guess game, I think he can do it, or he is a possible choice. What are the factors that constitute he or her to be a possible choice? And this is why the country is so much it is where it is. All of our lawmakers, they have foundation. They have non-for-profit organization, NGOs. So the typical Liberians who tries to climb the job ladder, who try to establish a structure, who try to establish an institution to also create an opportunity for ordinary Liberians to come into or live the Liberian dream, like we say here, American dream. They do not have the opportunity. Because if you have the 103 men and women, they have their NGO, they are decision maker. They said they talk to these big corporations. Tell me, for God's sake, somebody from B.I. Joseph from Grand Jetta County who is gradually climbing the process and going through all of the processes to make sure to have something in place. How can that person or that group get a contract? Remember, the government is a higher employer. So how can those people get that sort of contract? Normally can get foundations working. I'm not saying having a foundation is a bad thing, but we need to know, we need to separate these institutions. We need to know whether there's a conflict of interest, their involvement, who are those people that are heading those foundations. You have Sir Joseph, this person, that person. I mean, pretty well everybody. So as a result, because, and I've talked to a lot of people that have their small businesses, ordinary Liberian. And not to mention, if you are not part of the bellwether, if you are not hanging out with the big guys, if you are not part of the system, if you can speak the language, if you can get into that sort of esoteric tone, their conversations, if it is uncomfortable to you, forget it. OUT, you're out. They will not count you. They will not see you as anybody, because they see you either as a traitor or somebody who's trying to get something and get it out there within the public domain. So if Liberia is to be a country with tranquility, equality, there are a lot of things we have to work on. And this is why sometimes by the first branch of government is very, very much disappointing. All of the sound bites, their argument, this not happening, this not happening. I am not saying enough being done on their part, because they are charged, they have the constitutional authority. You saw the clip, that was the governance of a rebel state calling on the very government, holding the government responsible. Look, if you need help, ask for it. Don't pretend as if it is well when you know it is not well. I'm wondering, the oppositions, people that are looking for state power, let's forget about the CDC and the George Weah government. They are already there. We have to deal with them. We either to retire them based on what they are doing, right? You know, you're gonna be the ultimate person to make that decision. But then let's look at those who also want it at this time. What are they bringing to the table? What is their language? What is their tone? Are they unified? There are a lot of things. I listened to Minister Fagon, and he was talking to, I don't know why government officials are going on Spoon Network. Spoon TV is it's an opposition network. When you listen to other group of people again, you say, well, Spoon TV is how they call it, a government network. Well, you listen to LPR, other people have all the voice view. But let's, for discussion purposes, let's assume Spoon, LPR, is an opposition network. Don't you think this is where you're supposed to go and channel the government's agenda, or probably the misconceptions or misinterpretation or self-interpretation, how it has been to restructure? If our government, don't you think that's where I'm supposed to go to? Why, if the government, if all few, in as much sometime, not sometime, most of the time, like Mr. Costa, a very good, fine gentleman, very good at talking, but his language is not refined. And I've said this, these are people who need some sort of advisors around them. If it is so, why the Ministry of even Information, regardless about what he says about the president, challenging, put out the offer, I want to come on your network to argue what you say this government is doing. I'm willing to unveil myself. Do that and see. Let him deny you. Then you can make the argument. Go to Spoon Network. If you feel whoever on Spoon is an opposition or whatever the case it is, make your presence felt. Get in their middle. Talk to them and get the deeper information that is required, perhaps, to strengthen government. But the idea that both governments and the opposition try to alienate certain segments of the Liberian community or Liberian people, it just doesn't add up. And that's why sometimes I laugh and I look at those folks. However, anyway, it's a different thing when they are doing a professional work or they are doing the propaganda, be it for the governments or the opposition, but it has to be strategic. You must have a goal. You must have a set target. If I'm a sedition, why should I waste my time to go? Actually, it's on the seditions on the CDC network. I would try to infiltrate the opposition's network, even if I will be cussed to the last letter, because that's the language Liberian loves. That's what people love hearing, and that's why people chant and clap and cheer. And so, but they don't know how stupid it is. And some of our friends who are not Liberian, they're like, "What a minute! Is this how you guys can have a conversation about a national issue?" Listen to this channel on television from Nigeria. Listen to Voice of Sierra Leone. When you see the oppositions and the government people, when they are talking, they talk things of substance. You will never see our opposition government people want the two to appear without acting like a little toddlers, because they do not have an argument. They both do not have a strategic plan that they can unveil. Yet, it is within the heart. Our commitment to our country is what going to deliver us. It's not a matter of this person becoming president or this person becoming president. Even if Arizona Cummings becomes president today, there are corrupt elements embedded within the ANC, and ANC as a political institution, inability to chastise and discipline and come down with strong policies about the institution. If it is lacking, believe me, that same system will be infiltrated in government. It will be brought in government. It will be incorporated in government, and it will be put to use in government. And the ordinary Liberians will become they will be inflicted. So we need to see enough of these people that are seeking for state power. I saw the footage the other day saying in Lofa County, Dr. Cassette, my friend Eduardo wrote here, Cassette and VP Boyka. Oh, I wish you luck. Cassette is on his own tour, and it's not a bad thing to anybody who wants to lead the country. The guess here, the thinking here is this person have the country at heart, so they have all right to contest for national leadership. But there must be a distinction. If I'm there right now, if I'm not doing the right thing, and I begin to point out those ills you want it, then you need to look at the system or things that I'm doing that is not feasible, that is not good for the country, or the ordinary Liberians are crying foul about, then you need to do it differently. You need to tweet that differently so that you will be seen as somebody who is set apart and ready to lead. CDC wearing red barrel, collaborative party wearing black barrel, Dr. Kasena come with his own barrels and khaki. So tell me, what the heck is that? We'll have thousands of young children that were not demobilized properly because of lack of funding. And Helen Johnson's Salif government, that was heavily, no question about that, that was supported massively by the international community, did not do enough. CDC bearer, red bearer from the opposition was crossed over to national government. Many people say, I have not had a chance to talk to any insider or official to confirm, to say, yes, we have this Cobra unit, we have this unit, but these are all speculations for me. I'm not talking about you, because I have not talked to anybody to quote directly to say, yes, we have this here. But by virtue of the uniform or things that they put on, it resembles, it's an indicator they are doing this. What happened? Collaborative party came. They brought what they call Solidarity Brigade with black bearer. What is the intent of that? We are crying foul. We are saying this malicious group, we have a security apparatus that we need to focus on, to be trained, to be rehabilitated, to be equipped. We begin to nurture, we begin to bring in this malicious group. We are adapted the systems of other countries, and they say they are championing the cause of democracy, transforming to retrospecting some of the bad events of the 90s. And if some of us see those red barrels, those black barrels, it gives a bad memory, because there were people that were wearing those sort of same barrel and they inflicted pains and suffering. We yet to recover from that. Now, you want state power, and I see you coming with that. That's giving you a sort of wrong interpretation, even if you had a very good intention. While my analyst from Atlanta, Georgia is here, Amos George. I will ask Mr. George this evening. He's a very critical voice on the government and sometimes of the opposition and people calling so out of names. But I'm happy his willingness to always talk about issues in the country. I will ask him in this hypothetical question here, as we talk Liberia. If you were elected president today, George Weah get pissed and his government, okay, Benedict Cummings can be president. Joseph Boyka can be president. Even though you say you were packed for 12 years, but yet and still we pay you with services of vehicles and everything. There's no indication that those things were relinquished, that you didn't get. You try to reinvent yourself. You are not willing to grow new breed, new society, new phase of the nation. I imagine some of these people, if they were Nelson Mandela, my goodness, they were going to change the constitution overnight, just how Mandela was in jail for 29 years. They were holding state power for 29 years. Let's take a quick commercial break, and I will be bringing in Amos George right here on Liberia Public Radio. Stay tuned. Okay, there you go. Let me bring in Mr. George here. Is in Atlanta, Georgia, and is a Sonian contributor of the Liberia Public Radio. We're going to do something unusual this evening. let's see if the Liberian people, only on LPR, hypothetically, you are the president of the Republic of Liberia. Do you want that job, first of all?
Yeah, I want that job.
You want to be cost?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So, if you are elected president today, what would be your priorities? What are things that you're going to look at? So let's put it in the Liberian context. To be honest with you, I'm sick and tired with these politicians' rhetorics, their empty promises, inconsistent way of doing things, being very disingenuous to the country and all of that. If you're president today, where are we leading in this 2023? What will you do?
Not if I'm president, but anybody who will become president of Liberia, what I expect, Mr. So the first thing is accountability. Because when
give me the recipe, the details here for our audience here, the accountabilities. What are you trying to factor in here?
Okay, Mr. So, for any institution to survive, to thrive, there must be accountability. So let's work government. Now, to have a good governance, there must be accountability. That is, if someone is entrusted to run this ministry, they should be able to effectively run that ministry, give report to the chief executive as to the progress and holding them responsible for whatever goes on in that department or agency. The same thing with the presidency. Because the president, because the way African leader have the system have been created, the president has immense power. But for that power, for the people to benefit, there must be accountability. Because if the president cannot hold himself accountable, then who else will hold accountable? The country will be moving in the wrong direction. Because the lieutenants that you have, everybody will be doing their own thing. Okay, for instance, if you are LPR, Mr. So, and you want this institution to survive, the first thing, when someone gives 2 cents for the institution, that 2 cents must be properly used and report to a board member how that 2 cents was received and how it was dispersed. What is the benefit in return? So the hallmark of any system, any government, any institution is accountability. Once there's no accountability, that system is bound to fail or will collapse, or there will be no trust. The people have
these are words we hear on a daily basis, but are they enforced? And I know I've always heard to government officials and even the opposition accountability, but have they been held up to standard? That's the point.
No, this is why you see we having all this trouble, not only in Liberia, but around Africa and other countries, because the leaders don't live up to that word. They speak the word that to the point that people don't even want the word is being misused. Because everybody talks to the first thing, accountability, but you don't see it. Why I think is the massive corruption in Africa? It's because there's no accountability. Because you're my friend, so I gave you the job, and you're messing up. But I cannot fire you or turn you over to the agencies that are supposed to prosecute, to investigate, to say, hey, this guy was here. This is the story we got. Let him go and face the investigation. Anything, let him go through the process. It doesn't happen. It comes back again because why? There's no accountability. Our people in Liberia, we speak this word every day. It's a daily word we use. The government is transparent. But transparency all boils down to accountability. Okay, all boils down to accountability. You hear today to say, oh, there's a large report of so happening here. Take for all the people lost their killing in Liberia. You hear every people say the people want justice. What is justice? Justice is accountability. Justice is accountability. The people say they want justice.
So let's see here. Let's get outside of government here. It's it. I want to welcome Dr. Wallen Diantoa. I welcome to the state. Good to see you here. I hope we have the time to see and all of our viewers and listeners here. Is it a different thing because these people they talk and talk, but when I go in government, that's become a different boy game. That's a different scenario. What is responsible for that? When people are out of the system, they seem to be very vocal. Most people, not all, other people try to do the best they can, but the system is very huge. You are battling against something that have been there for rack of ages. That is full grown. You have people there when you are seeing you enter, especially when they see you, they want to initiate you, they want to bring you into the system to say, hey, look, it's different being out of this fence. I was there before, I am here now, but this is what you're supposed to do, X, Y, Z. So there are folks who already there, society-wide, that sort of Masonic way of doing things, to initiate and incorporate you, to orientate you into the process. Then it become a sticker issue, and you see politicians out of a sudden to change. I never knew you were going to be this way.
Yeah, Mr. So here's the thing here. Sometimes they say, when you poll, sometimes they say, it's not sometimes good to get in politics. Look, take for example, if you're running for our office, and I always say this thing here, I'm sitting here, no Lebanese man or Indian man like Liberia will give me a bottle of whiskey today. No. But the moment I become,
no, but who wants to be friends with a poor man? You are brought into your side.
Now listen. The moment I became director, they said, oh, we're here to see you. There's one mercy day also out there for you, just for your transport, because you just got a job. The question you should ask yourself,
go to CRT Brothers and pick whatever the appliances that you want.
Yes.
Good note.
Yes. But the question you should ask yourself is, why you offer me now when I was walking in the slipper, you didn't offer me?
How many of them have that kind of coverage?
Because in return, they will come back to you for something. And that way you can't say no. So these are some of the things that you see in Liberia and other places has problem. Take, for example, the campaign. I know few political parties, to be exact, the Unity Party, the CDC, were sponsored by Lebanese guys and Indians. So when the guy gets to power, where is this transparency? If the guy came to you and said, hey, I want this contract, and he know he gave you 4 pickers during your campaign, will you say no to him? These are the issues that we say sometimes separate the politics from these people. Because the moment you allow these people, you take money, politicians, you take money, even it happened in America here. Donors. Why you see sometimes the drugs company got people?
Not to interrupt you here. Our folks, I don't know, probably they have done it. I didn't see it. Have they disclosed their donors, people who gave them money? They do?
No. And this is one of the I'm coming to. This is some of the things that Small are speaking about. Campaign reform. The laws are on the book, but the election commission is not enforcing these laws.
Does the Elections Commission have the capacity to do that? Do they have the resources to try to do everything or to compel people to adhere? The system is there and people are not enforcing it. Don't you think that's where the compromise is coming from to get us to be where we are today? Because there are people, I do it, somebody did it yesterday, Emo Joy did it the other day, I thought I was on a turner. So there's this sort of idea of no action was taken yesterday, day before yesterday, so we cannot take action now. that's a sort of that's a sort of syndrome we are already we are in as well.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the laws are there, but the people that put there don't have the willpower. I know the resources is very limited, but if an institution came and say, "Look, this is what we want to see all your donor list. Who gave this money? Who gave $5? Who gave $10? We want to see it because it's required by law." And the phone number, the address, so we can contact them. Just give us the list. We will go to verify them. And let the party say, we can't give it to you. And you say, well, if you can't give it to me, then you are not met the requirement. It's on the book. But the election commission is not doing it. Anything the people can, they say, oh, this is our list. They take it and put it down. So who is failing the people is that institution. And then that work accountability come in again because it lacks accountability, it lacks the integrity. So we don't just push this blame on the political party, but the institutions that are supposed to regulate them, they too are part of it.
Do we push you on the government?
I don't want to say the government because, like the election commission is an independent body. But would they have the willpower to stand up to the ruling party? Because if you're going to go down that
No, let's do that across the board. Investors say all of these people involved in campaigns, they do fundraiser all over the place, all across country, and all of that. So are they not too aware that they have these laws and they're supposed to adhere to them as well?
Oh no,
don't you see that they have that also that responsibility of being there, or is like, okay, you know what? The other people do it, let me do it too.
No, Mr. Soul, that is always the tendency of human being. We don't like to abide by laws. So we always want to evade laws. Because that's why you have these institutions supposed to be like a policeman to police us. Because we're going to just bring any list and dash it to them. We said, do not talk, do not answer. But if they say, hey, hold on there. What's the list? Where are these people coming from? Where your donor coming from? We want to see the name, we want to see the telephone number, we want to see addresses. Then they will say, oh, when you go into that place, you got to make sure you got all these things in line because they will ask you. But once those things don't ask, then of course those people will take advantage of it. It's just human nature. Because if those institutions were not there, then we can say, okay, why the people can't do the data? No. But those institutions are there to check on them. That is why those institutions were created. And if they are not doing the function, then of course, the people will take advantage of it. And like the policeman is there to enforce the law, to prevent people from committing crime. But if there's no policeman, anybody will go anywhere and do anything, commit any crime and get away with it. But if the police is there, say, hey, no, you can't do this. They'll say, oh, somebody's there to check me. So it's the same thing when it comes to the election commission. The laws are there. They're supposed to enforce it. Whether the people know it or not, is you tell them, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. And if you don't do it, we are not going to have these people go through. And let that person challenge you and take you to the court. Or the popular opinion will say, oh, so that what you want to do now, you want to invade the law. But they don't do it to the opposition. They don't do it to the government. So then, where are the people now? Because the people depend on you, the citizenry, depending on our institution to invest everybody that will be going through there to meet the requirement. Because we all cannot go sit down there so we want to be election or running the election commission. No, few persons have been chosen to run that institution. So the trust of the people are imposed in the people, the president, and the president imposed that trust into those people. So those people are not supposed to make sure that the right thing is done. But
then here is the question here. Because the both houses of government, the upper and lower houses, they are subcommittees, they are select committees with oversight responsibilities. In area, both autonomous agencies and other groupings in Liberia. Are those people doing enough?
No, they are part of the problem. The three branches of government are part of the problem. The legislature is there for oversight. But yeah, it's the thing again. If you have the speaker who is in charge of the lower house, the president pro tem who is in charge of the Senate. If these people, members, are not given the latitude, but the president pro tem and the speaker, it's hard for them to achieve any of those things. Like I take, for example, the other
are they being a little aggressive, working, maneuvering, negotiating, doing everything they should do to get that done? Are they doing that enough as well? Many having conversations with their counterparts, people on the other side of the aisle. Are they having those sort of conversation? We see that happening here. We saw that here. Even here, once you are in control of both houses, it makes the executives much easier to execute his or her program. But at the same time, you will see the other group. There will be other people that will try to pull, other people that will try to work hard to make sure to reach some sort of consensus. I don't see these people sit and to have conversation.
No, but
the people in the lower upper house, Pa George, they don't say it. All they are doing when Darius Dillon comes on, latches at Tamafala, Akara's Grey come on, call names, and all of that, and so on. They don't say it. So I don't know. Like they're just there, but they're just there. They are there. We put them there, and so we have to deal with them.
Let me give you a story scenario the other day I saw in the Senate, Liberian Senate, concerning the $25 million that was they say the government used for COVID-19, which I think $50 million, then $25 million went to you see for the feeding. Other senators were insisting, they were arguing that they bring back Professor Wilson Tape to give account of how this money was used. Sir Joseph stood up. I think he's the chairman or
executive in the Senate.
He said, no, that's the wrong person people are looking for. The man told people to get a contract with WFP. So is WFP people supposed to contact WFP? Are you supposed to contact now? Wilson Tape, knowing very well that the Senate has no contract or authority over WFP. So the other colleagues said, the bunch of them said, no, we don't have authority over those people. This is the person who gave, these are the people that who gave the money to. They in turn went and hire somebody. So let us bring the person who gave the money to, then the person will go to the person they hire. Something simple like that. Why you think Sir Joseph is pushing that line that they should not bother Wilson Tape? But the other people prevailed because they were in majority said, no. Then the pro tem were forced to bow down and say, yeah, they got to come back here. But these are some of the things that are happening because partisan, and the partisanship in Liberia ain't no different from here almost. Some people don't see any of the partisan doing anything wrong. So if you want to, you go, Mr. So, you say, look, you know what happened? LEC. I do what? $2 million, $100 million were given to LEC for light. They said during the COVID-19. And LEC said that government were owned, and so that money was going to be used, something like retrospect, or something like that. They were going to take a portion of that money. They were only going to give people some credit or something like that. But I have not seen the OSI coming to call LEC and say, hey, who are the people that you gave the light to during the COVID-19? Water and sewer. The oversight
supply water, yeah.
Yes, they gave them money. So where's the record to show the committee on water and sewer, the committee on electricity to say, hey, these are the people who supply current.
So then, Pa George, it comes back to the point in my monologue here is you have most of the lawmakers, you have most of them have their own NGOs in such sort of related work. So it makes it difficult for ordinary Liberians or other groups that are involved in that. Obviously, how their bidding process go, who gets what, nobody knows the criteria. I mean, it's just a complete mess because they were not giving contracts or awarding contract to their own institutions that they have, because at the end of the day, they will not give reports, they will not say anything. And I agree with you what you said, because when I asked Wilson Tappe, he said there was some sort of layout added there by WFP. Today, nobody knows the layout. Nobody made a follow-up, even from the media industry, Mr. Minister. What was that layout? What was the impact of that layout? Where are the institutions that were hired to carry out this COVID fund exercise? Who are the beneficiaries? You don't see it, and you don't have people. So I am saying here, if we have these lawmakers, it can be done with anger. It can be just done. You come on live Facebook, and you scream and act like a little chihuahua, and you just think by you talking they're going to solve the problem. You're not still solving the problem, because this is what politicians, that's their behavior. They always want to have genuine cases or something genuine to be talked about, to be polluted, because when it's polluted, when it becomes confrontational, then of course there's no avenue to come to a good settlement. So why these people can have that sort of goodwill political tolerance to have that sort of route of engagement amongst themselves? Why?
It is first the bickering, ego, then partisanship, and they need to put some of this thing aside and approach the coalition on some of these things. But here's the thing, yo. The presiding officer of these horses, they got immense power. And if they were put there to be checked on the institution, I expect maybe if the chairman of that committee is not working effectively, the speaker can say, you know what, I think I will move you and put someone there because you're not doing the people's job. I'm not seeing bringing the oversight to this institution. They see the president pro tem. But all the guys sit down.
So
they sit down and that they say anybody can do anything. They want to bring something on the table that maybe they feel at a certain time that maybe might be a little bit in the interest to bring it. Take for example some of the things you talk about NGO. They report that was released from the embassy. The former speaker, Eric Talo, the Bond County Technical School, his name is mentioned in there, along with Mervyn Cole and one other representative called Kaifa from Bond County. They had a company that is suffering $2 million from that institution. The list was turned, according to the report, it was turned on the LACC. What have been done with that? So you see these guys, and Milton Chair, they said it here before. I'm not on the show, but in the place that they confronted people because they were asking to give the people ready the job and thing. So you can see now, if this man gave my brother or my girlfriend job, what power will I have to police that man when he already gave my girlfriend or fiancé or my nephew a job, or I gave me something on the table? What power would I have to police that man? So, and then it comes back to accountability. The system is rotting from all angles. It's rotting, and this is why you see the country can now move forward. People will speak now. Here's a terrible thing about it. When you start speaking about the ill of that society, that system, then of course you become a target. People now say, oh, that Mr. So he want to prove that he can do this. You'll see what we'll do to him. These are the way the Liberian system works. So at the end of the day,
Should the electors be held accountable, responsible, because these decisions comes from the electorate? Now, 2023, I'm not sure what are people begin to forecast or begin to think now. There are going to be 3 major elections. They're going to be crazy. They're going to be horrible. Who can run? Who can run? Stay. You have the presidential. You have another batch going to be going for the Senate. You have the other group going to be going for the rep as well. Both parties, if you look at the opposition, the government, are they considering, if they know very well, having majority in the both houses of the upper and lower house is beneficiary in driving the agenda, or maybe holding the presidents accountable? Are they focusing on that, or they are just only focusing on the executive now? Are they vetting? Are they in the process of recruiting people who have their political ideology? Are they recruiting these people, or everybody just because, like you said, the presidency is the most popular one year, so people are just focusing on the presidency? Let me pick up this number here and call it from overseas. Let's see here. Caller, good evening. Just lower your monitor a little bit, please.
Yeah, my name is Ivan. Actually calling from Australia.
Yeah, Ivan. Thank you for coming on. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Yourself?
Great.
Yeah. Look, I've been listening to the conversation, and it's actually interesting. I'm feeling like kind of Liberia issue. Yeah, and there are a lot of things going around Liberia right now. It's very hard to comprehend. It's hard to really talk about it. Because a lot of it is disappointing. We're not expect people to do what they're doing, or we're not expect people to clap their hand on things they're clapping their hand for right now. Okay, let's take it for instance, Mr. So. I always go to Liberia. Every year I go 1 or 2 times to come back. There are so many ways to empower people in Liberia to live a better life. But it's not happening. Okay. Now they're putting like street lights. It's fine, don't get me wrong, it's good. But how many poor Liberians actually benefit from the street lights? There are some old women who sell water to survive. They don't even go on the street, they put a light on. You see, there are light projects that came from Cote d'Ivoire that Lima County is benefiting right now. What happened with those projects that the government can put money into it and just electrify the country? What happened with it? They're leaving all of this thing undone. They put the light on the street. How long are they going to last for? Take it for instance, they have someone in the corner in Liberia who said it. Their whole market is selling. It's $250 US. Okay, this person will never afford to run a generator to run that market. They're expensive. But if you get them current, you push them forward. Don't petty, they're not even looking at those things. But they sit every day and defend yourself that the government is divided. It's really disappointing. I just called to share a little bit of
that. Arvin, the lawmakers, right? This is where my problem is. These people are not appointed by the president. Some of them are from the oppositions. They are from in the different communities, and they were elected, and they got the people vote. Are they up to task as well, asking these sort of questions and having these sort of concerns ordinary Liberians are having? I don't understand.
The problem about I don't know what are Liberians even taking the real way they're supposed to think, or they just follow the people because they find somebody who the close of following them. That's the point. Because people they even put in power, they lie to them. Here's the problem that they're going to do. They're not doing those things. It's all in their own interest. They share for them. They say clap for them. So it's kind of a disappointing. So we don't left for me. I've voted for CDC. I've followed CDC. I've been with CDC. But for now, I don't even know which political party I'll go for in Nigeria. They're all the same.
But again, 23 party, my man, you not know and who knows? There are more might come even.
I believe there are people who stand it alone who don't even know what we're going for. Because the eldest student might be able to retire money right now. He's knows. The banker already gone. He was there for another 4 years. He didn't do anything. He who counted. That's about the entire life, bro. He who counted. There's nothing he can show that he did that we can register that will impress us. So tell me, man, I'm going to be living this life every time to say that, oh, the government didn't do it, how they want you to do it.
Okay, well, now 2023 is ahead. Are Liberians, are they concerned right now or waiting when 2023 come before we take a decision who to put there? Are they concerned? Are they thinking, okay, with this sort of experiences or with this sort of thing, this is our decision. And unfortunately, it's an individual decision making. You just have one vote. I get one vote. By George get one vote. But let's take a holistic approach. Are they concerned what they want or what we want as a country? Or are we going to do it out of anger without vetting the proper people to say, okay, this is the experience that we have had. So this time we'll be very careful in our thought process who to make representative, who to make senator, and even who to become the president.
They are concerned. They are very, very much concerned. But the point here is that people, even they choosing to be the better people, when they get there, it change.
So then what we'll do now?
It change. So I don't know, we just click on the devil, or how long we're going to set the devil for? Yeah.
Well, I think we need to.
Well, as a team.
Well, I think that we need to talk to.
Normally count that. She work in the government, right? Okay, see the petty information that between there and the president. And the president says sleeping. Why should you be having those kind of small talk with the people that are working in the government? Whatever good that go on in that, he carry the benefit. He carry the good news. Why fight the people that work for you? You are the commander in chief. I don't know how they really think it. Seriously. If you are supervisor and working player, then you begin power with the cleaner.
Yeah, it's ego. It's about people. Everybody wants to take the glory, and that's the same thing we are talking about. Nobody wants to let little thing go. Every little thing gets on people. Everything gets on by the skin.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the time.
Okay, well, we not find nobody, no party. We just talk to Jeff Besso from Amazon. Say, "Mama, take over Liberia for 4 years." With private time, Liberia. Because I say, all right, Mama, thank you. Yeah, Pajoy.
Yeah, the young men they were stressing something and we're talking something last night. And this is why some people say that I don't like the government, I don't like person we are in now. And I would tell people, you may not like.
You don't like the government?
Oh no. I mean, I don't hate.
Why would people think of you that way?
Well, maybe they say the way I speak or something. I post something. When I post something, people think that I hate person.
You're not that the other side of it. The people are also saying you are not that critical on the opposition.
You just the other day you heard me commenting. You asked me about Mr. Cummings, and I spoke about Mr. Cummings. You saw me talking about Mr. Boakai. So I don't know what, but it like when I'm talking about Boakai, they are happy. When I'm talking about Mr. Cummings, they are happy. But when I go to the government, the we are their government, and so no. So this is why. But here's the thing, you see that the young man over there said something. He said people in Nema were enjoying current before. And I said Nema, Kepamos, 2008, 2007, 2018, they were current on no era. Part of Grand Gideon. But what people are saying today, then I went back, I said, and because I went back, I said before the war, 1989, all these cities, provisional cities had electricity. And you know him also, you are in Sando, Maryland, Grand Gideon, Basso, Kakatara, Bommy, all these provisional had cities. The war get destroyed them. But what it was, the people are using to say George Weah is the first person ever in the history of Liberia to carry light in the area. Now,
but I think after post-war, that's why people.
But you should say post-war. Even post-war, the current in Ghana, coming from Ivory Coast, coming from in Maryland, the current were there before. George Weah told they were current no area. But people say this thing, and they don't modify it. They say, oh, since the war. But they will say, in the history of Liberia. Now, That is, I don't people being sincere. No. What is sentiment? Because they like one person. So when that person is doing something, they say they want to forget about every other thing that are happening on the past government. So this is the problem I have with some of these people. What the young man was saying in the light business is that these solar panel lines are very good. You put in the street, it helps those areas, around those areas, to prevent crimes. But then you have the economic component of this thing here. If there's a light in a house, some poor person can look for $150, put a freezer there because the house resources some people to survive. They sell the cold water, they sell about a beer there, they survive it. But people don't look at so many things. People don't look at the economic side of it. They only look at one component that, oh, the light is in the street. Now, the last time I asked a question, the money they're taking to put this solar panel, why they could not invest that money into the electricity when they know very well that the power line, this West African line, is completed already now for Liberia. Okay. What LEC is doing? You don't think, Mr. So, people who are proactive, LEC should have started planting pole in the community, start laying wires, knowing that the project is going to be finishing by this time. The hardware is there, but then you go, you use the solar, you put it like it's fine. But how long now? Where is the extra money coming from now? LEC now?
The duration, that's your argument. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me go to the 612 here before we wrap up here. 612 number 3168. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good.
Yeah.
Where are you calling from? What's your name?
Jerry calling from Minnesota.
Okay. Oh, Jerry, go ahead.
Yeah, I believe that we need to give the government some praise, for the level of electricity, that is going on around the city and around the country. We cannot afford to always fight the government on every project that they initiate. I believe that is a great plus for the people to receive electricity after many provinces and after many, the LNL government received a lot of money. They should have done this, and they did not. But with the kind of difficult economy on the government hand, they are able to do that. But also, I want to believe that this particular government is using a strategy to win election come 2023. And the opposition is not looking, they're not understanding what is happening. I see the president has left from the city, and now he's going in the interior because they know that maybe probably come 2023, they're looking at the ratio in the city for the election will go, maybe, it will be in favor of the opposition. So if I believe they can secure Nima County because Nima County is the second largest populated county in the country. Once they can secure Nima County and other major counties, all right, they can fight with Monterrey and Bon County, and they could emerge victorious. So the opposition is not looking at the strategy that the ruling party is implementing due to the failed election they had just on December 8th.
Yeah, so quickly here, we'll soon be out of here. Okay, strategy, anything is a race, so people, you have to deploy it and be very strategic in order to get to the finishing line here. Is the opposition to being strategic here in terms of the policy, how they're going to handle things differently? Are they articulating that? Are they sending that message as well? Or they are also feeling into the bite?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that the opposition is now working out the way to success. Every now and then you hear from the opposition camp there is some kind of fighting going on. Somebody is lashing at somebody. There is always abusive crossfire, and all of that. And all these things are strategies. Like even I was listening to you guys talking about what Maggie put out there. These are strategies, that distraction. The opposition is not getting the distraction that the ruling party is trying to present to them as they are working underwater to restore their position. And that could cause a great boost for the ruling party, and they are not paying attention to that. The ruling party still got a few more years to be able to rectify.
Yeah, so
do that.
I don't know. People just take the team politics as like a chicken egg here. From now to 2023, that's a long time. Anything can turn. There can be change in policy. There can be a different thing, and the Liberian people can decide. So to kind of rule somebody out now that is all over, or it can be. I don't know.
So I think it would be a great mistake for the opposition to use Joseph Boyka as their, candidate. I think the struggle here between Joseph Boyka and Alexander Cummings.
So who do they have?
Yeah, I think the opposition should go along with, because using Joseph Boyka is like Unity Party coming back to power. And when Unity Party come back to power, it's 12 years. Joseph Boyka is already old.
Look, the opposition said they are a complete mess. They are not willing. They are a complete mess. There will be another disaster. So if we even take George Weah there today and put in there, believe me, it's going to be a chaotic situation. Because they have this guy here. They are unwilling to accommodate other people, people who think they started this cause or whatever struggle. They must be, because at the end of the day, they're going to see some sort of success in it, and they don't want to incorporate other people. If they know very well that they are trying to unseat the CDC, what are they doing? Are they having conversation with Daniel Cassette and say, hey, this is a situation we need to, are they doing that, or everybody just going to go? I wouldn't even be surprised when some of the other people to start, because Cassette Natu is pumping money crazy like people open a faucet from the hydro plant. My man, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So, Pa George.
Yeah.
Quickly here, before we go here, is the opposition, do they have any strategic plan that is definitive that Liberian can point out that we can see, or are they just still having these conversations between behind the camera? And if that is the case, is that strategic? Who do they really have to put forward? Why can't this come to solidify their position and be persuasive and bring other faces? They have the same group of people. Do they have any? Do they have
I do not know much about the Joseph Boyka camp, but the ANC camp, I talked to one or two persons. They, according to them, they have the party has a plan, but I think they were saying because of the collaboration, they cannot come now to reveal that. And the last time, I think when Mr. Cummings was on Spoon Talk TV, so he mentioned that they are now talking to the coalition, the Rainbow. Say
the other 22 group of people.
Yeah, he said they are talking to them. But here's one thing I want to mention. CDC, I cannot underestimate CDC strength. But my problem with some of these things here politically, the first one, George Weah did not get 40% of the vote, the CDC government. The party did not get 40%, they got about 35%. So that went to that marriage with the MPP, the Alex Tallow, the Prince Johnson, to put them on the finish line. And you can see people from no other groups are not happy the way they've been treated. So one of the things is, which another group now that the CDC will go to emerge with that you think will trust them?
We never know. We don't know what is working behind the scene.
That's what I'm just saying.
People, when we can't even be definitive and say, okay, these people not happy. We don't know the healing process that is ongoing.
But but these are some things in Liberia. In modern day Liberia now, a single political party cannot win an election in Liberia. George Weah, they were the opposition for 12 years. They were the most popular opposition in Liberia. They could not even get 40% of the vote. So, in order to win an election, you have to find a coalition, collaboration for any party not to win that 50+1% of the vote. The next thing I want to talk about is that people are saying the Weah government is stranded. But it is their own making, Mr. So. The Millennium Challenge Funds gave people 3 years. They could not meet the requirement. The government of Liberia given three different chances.
Is it too late, this sort of judgment that is being run? I don't know on what consensus it is, but people saying things are happening. A lot of people are not happy. But is it too late? Can this
No. I would not say it's too late because that's an institution. But the question that you have to ask yourself is the Liberian people who will make this decision. We can talk all the good things, the lights, the roads being built. But the question when it comes to the economy, the question people will want to ask themselves. For instance, Mr. So, if I'm cooking 2 cups of rice every day in my house, then next year I start cooking 1.5 cups of rice. It means that something has changed my economic status. I'm not getting the money to get to cook 2 cups of rice. Would I be happy with that system that now only 1.5 cup of rice can cook? No. So yeah, it's the thing here. So all this is not going on. The bottom line here is the economy, the bread and butter issue. If someone cannot afford to send a child to school, even though they are free tuition, but you cannot afford to send your child, you cannot pay your child where to go to school. You cannot find food for your child to eat. So these are the critical issues that CDC need to start focusing on, because the people in the market, what they used to sell, they're not selling it again. People are not buying again. Even though you say your GPS, your gross domestic product going up, GDP going up, but the people are not feeling it in their pocket. It's not making no changes in the people's life. And the last thing I want to leave on is that people making this statement that all the NGO left Liberia. But yeah, my argument to them, why person we are cannot convince people to come back? They went with Ellen because they trusted Ellen. It was not magic. They went on there to convince people that, hey, you can come, you can do business with us. So why the we are government is not taking the same playbook to go out there and say, hey, this is our book. We are transparent. We believe in accountability. Come and work with us. Why they are not doing it?
In essence, they are not expanding their diplomatic link outside, especially within the West. Are they not expanding their diplomatic link within the West? Is that a factor?
Yeah, Mr. So.
Yeah, I don't know why it is not happening, because, but I don't know.
Yeah, Mr. So here's the thing here. You are LPRO. Your job is there to make sure the system functions. Your job is there to raise resources for the system. And if you are not doing it, and the next one out there were able to do it, and you don't ask, you don't go back to say, hey, how do you manage when you're here or raising this money? What were the yardstick? How did you go about? You don't do it. Then you say, oh, but the other people, they got a whole lot of money. But what are you doing? So this is the question I ask the people.
All right.
You think Ellen Johnson was becoming president? You think Ome would have left? Why George Weah, their government could not go to ECOWAS and the UN say, hey, you know what happened? 12 years yet, but we just come in a new government.
So
give another year, so we can settle before you start pulling up.
So meaning Helen was more persuasive?
Yeah.
Are you saying Helen was more persuasive in the international community?
Helen was more persuasive. Yes.
So they do not trust this government? Is that a reason? Is that where you're going, or what?
Mr. So, your word today introduced accountability, transparency. Ellen government, they have more confidence in her to do business with her. That is why they were there. She convinced them. Come on, trust me. Even though it was not 100%, but she made a case to them, and they bought it. So why why George Weah cannot go now and make the same case? She was able to convince Total. If I want to come in. So one person Weah cannot go now to make his case.
I'm talking to some insider within the NPP. I'm quite interested to know what is the relationship now is VP Dr. Taylor will still be on that ticket. And if she is not on that ticket, what could be the political implication or what gonna be it? That's a major, and that's gonna be a hair scratching thing. Yeah, but we hope. I hope.
But what your source is telling you?
That's what I'm saying. I say I'm willing to talk to people inside the NPP. Just need to also have them here. What is happening? And you know, she's been quiet for a little while now. She's moving here and there, but they're back on course, because if it is to fracture, then it's a problem. And even the very opposition, I'm interested in the ANC and the United Party people. They are not friendly. There's a big device. There are other people who are trying to jump ahead of the game. So we are waiting to see. So nothing is off the table. Politics is not a children game. Anybody can infiltrate us and cause a havoc. And so when people say, oh, okay, it's all over now, the 2023, the game is all set, believe me or not, you are five.
Let me tell you something. The dynamic that is playing within the CPP now, the Liberty Party and the ANC, the Unity Party, they will have to fight. Because just what I've been seeing is what now will start playing off. Boakai will either have to take the ownership of the 12 years and rebrand himself.
That's why he doesn't want to do. And I don't know how you can set yourself apart from that to say, no, I'm not part of this. I'm not saying him. The real tough question is not being asked. He wants to project or present himself. He was not part of the process, or he was not part of any corrupt system. No, you can't take glory of certain thing and then the other one say, no, I'm not part of this. So I'm not sure. And that's going to be a big power struggle within there, because Liberty Party being around for quite a long while, they have never tasted major political leadership. So they want to go there. So the possibility of them coming together with ANC and more or less alienating the Unity Party is most likely. So we're going to see how it works out.
So, here's the thing here. You remember Al Gore? When Al Gore distanced himself from Bill Clinton, he lost that election. Helen
Johnson Sirleaf is still well and fine, and she is a major factor within the Unity Party. You can't root her. So you better know how he plays his game, because other than that, Helen Johnson can create an insurrection within that same very Unity Party and tell them, say, this old man is not up for something good.
But she did it before. And that is she did it before. So, and that is the thing I'm saying. Because Omar Boakai cannot have it both ways.
No.
He either say the good thing with this
Boakai I don't know what other Unity people like it or not. Boakai needs to go to retirement and try to present a new face for the Unity Party. And this is so ridiculous to see here, because his argument, saw that thing they had the other day, it was not an interview. They say it was Jay Chagona, but I didn't see anything that he could possibly defend himself. So he needs to sit down. He needs to be like an advisor now. He needs to be like a statesman now and build the structure. And this is what I said. These people, they come to state power, they want to hold on to power until death take them away. And so as a result, they don't nurture people, they don't build up people. Every now and then, the Republican, the Democrat, you always see the shining star or the new face, potential face of the Democrat, of the Republican. Our people, they don't do that. Charles Bronson were all into it. It was all about himself. They never make a long-term preparation to nurture, to put anybody for, say, for God forbid, when this thing happens, I will do that. CDC is also running at risk. But this time, let's assume President Weah is going for 12 years. Okay, that's okay. They need to start training. They need to start building the future. They need to start a contingency, a backup plan. And that's the same thing the opposition is doing. You look at on the ANC now, you can't hear any other person named Benana Ure. I mean, Kumi, Boyka, Benana Ure, forget it. He is on. He's there to protect his world. Benana Ure cannot. These people are popular. Why they can't even contest to be senator of Mosorado County to change some of these bad things here and stand up to the executive branch of government? Why they can't do it? You saw John Kennedy here. He contested for presidency. He didn't win. He went back to Ohio. He became a governor. He was still a factor into the political process. But our people, all they want to go on it floor to loot the same way. It's no difference. They're not going to do anything different. But George, time has caught up with us. Thank you so much.
But let me just say this, Mr. So what we're doing here, we will continue to do it, and we have to continue to flag this here because we hold this people accountable. And our people cannot continue.
And one of the things I want to have a problem, we saw that the issue of this friends of Kumi, friends of this, it is a serious problem. And that's what happens when people come to state power. People feel more closer than the people. So what is the separations? Where is the party? Where is this group? Where are all of these small group? What do you think going to happen when they take state power? They have to incorporate their people. So they can't even build an institution that they have another group of friends who feels that they are so attached to the person and they want to possess that person at the end of the day. That's a nonsense. It's a bullshit. They need to work on their institution. They need to work on the structure of their political party. After by this time, with the collaboration of the 4 political parties, they will be having even an envoy. They will be having a special ambassador within their own scope to start to make some of these points in argument with state leaders, actors in this country. But they are not doing that. They only rely on radio talk show hosts. Elections is not run on the Facebook because not all of these people have qualified or they are voters to vote. If you rely on that, you run a broken state. But George, thank you so much for being here this evening. And I will be back here on Thursday for our informative news magazine, All Things Considered. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay, well, folks, that's what we're going to do here. Leave it this evening. So I want to thank you so much, our viewers and listeners coming on. Thank you so much, as usual, to be here. Again, Thursday, tomorrow, Wednesday, the Liberal Progressive on this network, the Liberty Party-based, USA-based partisans, Samson Bloku Branto will be here. Mr. Momo, thank you for being here. James City, Christopher Wlotti Tobasi, one of the high cold seditions. Thank you for coming, Taniant, and all of our beautiful people. Gloria, Gabriel, Alfred, El Haji, Cremans, Andrea, John, and all of you, Toxton, Brooks, and all of you people. I want to thank you so much, Mr. Crew. What? Is that a Deep Popo Crew Boy? I love that name, Crew Boy. I'm a clappy. Thank you so much, dear Page. Until then, by God's willing, same time, same station, on this network, I'm Afonso Z and Salt of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. Have a pleasant evening.
President, Vice President.
All right. Well, that was the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency George Weah, touching down at the Longate Airport, International Airport, in neighboring Sierra Leone to honor the independence anniversary of that country. Yeah, Mr. Watch, John Aguilar, thank you so much. I thank you. That's how we're going to leave it this evening. This is where all the trouble coming from. All this thing here. We see people standing up and then to being guided by local and other country securities, and your hand on your left or right hands, the flag and the national anthem is being hosted. This is what everybody wants to do, and this is what people love doing because power is sweet. And that's why you see all this bickering is ongoing. Nobody wants to come towards settlement. Nobody wants to say, okay, let me give way. Let us have a conversation. I am more likable. I will be the one to win. So that's why you're looking. It's quite fascinating. And Cummings, the folks of Cummings, they are getting out now. The president's left. Today, he took the podium to face the media and speaking. So they are making him more visible. You got to get him behind the closet because we need to know more about these people. We can't just take the unknowns and throw them over the executive branch of government. We need to know all of them. Those who even want to beat, we need to establish their true identity. Until then, folks, thank you so much. Have a pleasant evening and stay safe.
I just want to thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Abliju be moy be hure ti blanka jira ke na won britanji be ngen de para ro bochen ba webe wara colonial faro ke jiji we da da bira muni no oje ke we ma colonial faro ke o se penye nyune o da ba ku ke ona nyo private ba woron kanana ke oje ke webe ma colonial faro ke de be nyi twen ke mo ni jo yu wa brin son be aji nyoni ke nyi ko ni pra o ke nyi san ni pra ni me jo yi ka be de ro da pa nwe Benje de diyan ben ginin ke kwa menyu wana ka jenyu ke kwa mo igwo nyu ka be na blike de du yin mo yin benge de to be o benyu benge wana ke bengo yi blanye bengo mbuchen o kinki mo monda benge nyuru mo kwanyi tode soni mo de suike nin mo yin drian kwai boti sembla juke nyi fie bo mu ke na le soni dre kwai nyi dero yi pon ni me dre kwai o kuni mo we sembla ke ti sembla ke me dre kwai boti pra kuni o tani mo monda benge de benyo pra ye bengere mu o nyeni mo ne son ke me ba won juke nyi ko mu o nyi san ni o munio ke mo monda benge ni mi memero konne o ni mi no ji meke nje ku o je monda bengo ta o bengo yidu bengo di se paren sa eju de be ba ke nyoro o ji fiba blen o ji yo wa be na wo je nyoni ke yi ka tre ni be pa pide mu wura be ni ta to be o wa ko mu monda be ro mo bengo ke bun fwen cha ke juke dero jiji debe panto be mu oble frokpa be koni be mu be ko komna nyobe o nyobe be wane penye be ko abo chenwura nezuo bamba mi obodu toje botina ka mu bona ka debe so nye omode Ministry of Health program robo ke mu
anye pokra wa na wura wa mu sonati na ji na be amplede dene ji be amplede mo kwete omo ojira kuno ambo kwela.
This is El Piero TV with Afonso Z and Soul, live from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio. In today's discussion, we will highlight high-call issues from the motherland, Republic of Liberia, and issues affecting our community. Asking tough questions is vital to me to have my listeners and viewers informed with the sole purpose of demanding answers that are authentic and meant to be hair-scratching situation. Oh yes, to add pageantry to the conversation, senior analysts and contributors of the Liberia Public Radio are here to dissect the conversation. From Baltimore, senior analyst Professor Asese Labozalo, CEO, Real Academy and Gideon's Polytechnic Academy in Liberia. Senior contributor Amos George is in Atlanta, Georgia, a critical thinker and critic of the GOL, and opposition LPR TV foreign affairs analyst Leo Johnson's executive director, Empowerment Square.
Have you heard the news? Well, worry no more. Carson's photo and video production has been providing elegant weddings, conventions, and birthday videographic for the Liberian communities since 2006. Paying attention to detail and emotion throughout the day and taking time in the editing process to create a unique video you will want to watch with family members, friends, and future generations, shooting quietly and professionally and without distracting you or your guests is vital. For more information, please contact us at 484-786-3337. That's 484-786-3337, or we can also be reached at www.CarsonPhotoVideoProduction.com. Please tell Carson Photo and Video Production that Asheville the Giant Golly sent.
Okay, on the beat.
Our national system, the USA. Matia kwa bio, unyo sonwa wadea. Kwa soba bliakwa, odwile. Bombiwe, zaya bombio. Bombiwe, zaya bombio. Mama abi mweke jayo, se bon bombio.
There's the dinner hall where they are building from grain to the country. And of course, there will be the support. And so we'll let you know. Due to technical reasons, I will get the date.